Hey folks, Rich here, South Florida Beekeeping with Rich. And woohoo, it was just my birthday and I got some cool things. Here's one of them. You'll have to watch other videos to see some of the other cool shirts because what do you get in Old Fart? T-shirts. So that's the nice thing about being a beekeeper is there's always a theme. Okay, so here's the theme for today, melting wax. This is one of my birthday presents. So I had to try it out. So we've got a belly full of hot wax in there. Shame it didn't come last week. I had to prep a bunch of frames. But what we're going to do here is go over different things that I use or have used at different times for melting wax, the good and the bad. So the worst of all was picking up one of these little mini crock pots at the thrift store. The problem with them is cleaning them. The silicon inside, it's not real easy to wipe down. How do you pour out of it? Well, you stick your fingers in the hot wax, right? And there's no control anywhere. So the wax can get up and start bubbling. So that's out of here. I just don't use that. So these other three things, well, what I've been using lately is this bain marie. So bain marie is two pots, one nestled inside the other. You put your water in here, you heat the water up. It actually has a whistle. So you know your water got up to 212 degrees, which means that your wax has been melting. So hopefully you were paying attention and you didn't let it get that high. You turned your burner down. It's okay. It has a handle. It pours reasonably well, but the headache is the water can come out of here and dribble down into whatever molds you're trying to use. It's okay. And one of the good advantages of it is that the hot water jacket around it means that once you've taken it off the heat and you're working with it, it stays in a nice molten state for a lot longer because you've got all that extra heat from the water. So my go-to for many, many a year, a Pyrex saucepan, because like the water in there, the glass holds a lot of heat. After you've done what you're doing and you've poured your wax off, it's easy to do a really good job of cleanup with a paper towel if you had some other use for that. Obviously, I didn't do too good a job of cleanup because melting wax is all I do. And of course, you do that just like you do with that overheating pad.
And it has a spout.
And it has a spout, and it's pretty much my go-to. If I was using some of these other things, I would pour the wax in here and then pour it in these molds because otherwise it was a mess. Why a little frying pan? Well, that's for a more specialized thing, which we'll get to in a second. So here is what just came in, and I will let the wife put a link in it in the description. The plug is removable, so you can get it out of your way.
It's on Amazon, but it's not an affiliate link.
Yeah, we don't do affiliate stuff. You want to find it, just you go find it. Nice thing is this enameled metal inside does come out. It'll be easy to wipe out while it's still in there, but if you want to do more cleaning, the enameled inside can come out. And obviously it's got a handle and it's got a good pour spout. And this is designed for wax. You'll notice it has two settings, a low and a high. And the low setting is more than enough to melt your wax. Okay? And not going to let it come to a boil, not going to let it burn or anything like that. So ding, 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 that's probably the new favorite. Yeah, now I want to get onto a couple things. So one of the reasons is I like to store my wax in soap molds. This is how I store some blocks of wax. As you can see, I'm pulling from this one for that. But this is the way I do them. Why? Because there's no way for any kind of moth to get into this or anything other bug. Aluminum foil works terrific. Keeps the oxidized bloom off of it. So there's a tip for you. This is a great way to store wax because I'm a backyard beekeeper. I have 3 beehives. I don't do large masses of anything. So having it in reasonable sizes works well. Now, word of caution. There was a time when this mold was the same color as this one. I bought this one 3, 4 years ago. It's nice and heavy duty, and I use it. I'm thinking to myself, wow, look how faded it's getting. Maybe I should get another one, before this one goes bad. Saw this one, ordered it.
Mm.
It's ridiculous. It is so thin that everything just, floats. Everything just gets expanded out to the sides. It's too thin to use for anything. I tried it once. It's
Where did you get that one? You think Temu or something?
I got this one on Temu. This one had
Yeah.
come from Amazon, but
Yeah.
be aware they make things as cheap as you can get them sometimes. If it's $2.37, it's probably not worth getting. Pay a little money, get a decent one. I find that a standard soap mold is a great size to store my wax in and melt, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever I need for
So
whatever
what is
I'm
that,
doing.
like 2 inches by 3 inches, something like that?
That's
what it looks
probably 2 by maybe 3 1/4, 3 1/2, something
That's
like
what
that.
it looks like.
Now, I just want to show you a trick. Why a pan like this? Well, there's times when what I do is I'll heat this up a little bit and I'll just put a block like this in here like this, and I'll show you why I do that. I gave somebody a hive of bees last week, and I got 10 brand new frames with foundation and 10 brand new frames without foundation. Just heating that a little bit, because the only way I use foundation frames is if I wax the heck out of them. Okay, and this is just a little trick that I worked out once upon a time doing the general waxing.
But you've also used a brush.
And we're going to use the brush here, because this is what I use for most of it. You use a brush for nothing but this, it only takes a few seconds to get soft. Yeah, so you're particularly in the upper edge and in the corners, particularly, I like to brush it on. Both that block and the brush is used when I'm doing this. So, get a little extra down in there to encourage them to build to the corners. Give them a whole lot across the top to encourage them to build all the way across the top, and don't just do little plunks here and there. All right. And like I said, 10 with foundation, 10 without. So the ones without, I put my popsicle sticks in them, and then I came along and melted my wax and did that. I'm just doubling down right now, because of course these are all already done. So
you don't even have to clean that brush. You just let it harden, and it softens back up again next time you use it, right?
Right. I've been using the same brush for quite a long time. But like I said, one of the downsides of the Bain Marie is that when you're trying to pour the wax back into the molds, it tends to dribble some water into them too. But this thing is super lightweight. I mean, it's got to be a fifth the weight of this glass thing right here. And like I said, this thing is designed for wax.
It's a very easy pour.
Yeah.
You can be pretty precise with it.
Yep. Gunk. That's just how simple that is. Different ways that you can melt the quantities of wax that you need to work on a few frames at a time. I've also used the hot plate with a small metal rolling brush, the paint pan. Put it on here with this setting on low, poured melted wax into it, and used a roller brush to put it on there. Works great. Pain in the butt. You got to sit there scraping wax off of it and all that sort of thing. For the most part, it's easier to do it in this way, which looks slower. But if you include your cleanup time in it, it's not slower. So that's just it. It was my birthday. My wife got me some neat toys because what else do you give a guy who's got everything? You get him more stuff for beekeeping. So this has been Rich, South Florida Beekeeping with Rich. And if you're wondering, I just turned 71. Have a great day, everybody.